What's up guys, welcome to Chasing Folklore. I am George Martinez, and today I really want to talk to you guys about another type of monster. We're going to be talking about the gremlins of World War II. So a few days ago I was doing research and I was doing some reading about different things I could be talking about for today's video, and I found something really interesting. So I found an article on Cryptozoology News that says that gremlins were actually believed to be real creatures during World War II. And I'm talking about, yes, the really creepy little tiny beings, the reptile-like creatures in the classic movie Gremlins from 1980s. It is said that during World War II, British pilots from the Royal Air Force encountered mysterious and malicious sprites that were trying to take down their planes. Some of these creatures were actually described to be sort of animalistic. They had fur all over their bodies, they had gray skin, pointy elf-like ears, some had red eyes, glowing red eyes, and even some were said to have horns. Other reports spoke of gremlins as having hairless gray skin, being sort of reptilian in appearance, and having enormous mouths filled with pointy teeth. Some were even described as having wings, just like bats. The interesting thing about these stories is that the British weren't the only ones who were saying that they were being attacked by gremlins, but the Americans said that they saw them and the Germans did too. The existence of these creatures is believed to be popularized in 1923 when a British pilot crashed into the sea, and then he reported that tiny creatures followed him into the plane and caused his mishap. The pilot reported that these tiny creatures started messing around with his engine, and then afterwards his flight controls, which then led to his crash into the sea. Soon after this, many pilots started saying that they were being tormented by the same creatures, and it seemed that these creatures weren't just terrifying, but they also knew how planes worked, and therefore could actually hurt the engine, or use the flight controls, or take down a plane from inside. It is said that gremlins caused electric malfunctions, communication shutdowns, freak accidents by cutting wires, slashing tires, sucking the gas out of tanks with hoses, and by many other means. It was also said that gremlins could actually attach to people's planes. They could grab on with their claws to the planes as they were going up, and they could withstand high altitudes. But perhaps one of the scariest accounts of gremlins is that of a flight that flew from California to Hawaii carrying 13 passengers. Legend states that in 1939, this transport plane carried troops from California to Hawaii. There was 13 passengers in all, and after takeoff, only 3 hours later, there was a distress call from the plane. Afterwards, communications completely shut down, and then they didn't know where the plane was for a while. Throughout the whole time, the radio remained silent, and then the plane appeared back on the base, and it had to do an emergency landing. When troops and other personnel came by, they saw that the structure of the plane, it seemed horrible. It seemed like it was hit by a missile. There was dents all over the plane, and they didn't know what was going on. When the soldiers entered the plane, they found a horrible sight. They saw that everybody who was a passenger was dead, that they suffered some sort of horrible attack by some sort of monster, since there was wounds on their bodies and they looked like claw marks. According to the legend, the only survivor in the plane was the co-pilot. He was actually heavily injured as well, but he was able to land the plane safely. And once the soldiers took him to the hospital, sadly after being there for only a short while, he actually passed away. And he was never able to tell the soldiers what it was that they were defending themselves against or what happened in that plane. If you guys decide to look at different accounts of gremlins, you can actually see that there's a lot of them. There's a lot of accounts of gremlins and people who have seen them, but as with any legend, there are people who say that they are just pure fiction. Many skeptics point out that planes back in the day did not have the same pressurized systems that planes do now, and without a properly pressurized system, it could actually lead to cause hallucinations, and perhaps people were just seeing gremlins and thinking there was creatures on their planes. Other stories simply state that pilots maybe didn't want to attribute plane issues to human error, and they made up the stories about gremlins so that people wouldn't think that there was something wrong with their planes or they were just not capable enough to drive them. Other sites also claim that there's not a lot of proof showing that gremlins are real, because people who write articles usually state the story, but they don't say who said this thing. Like, who is the actual person who's telling the story about themselves being pilots or themselves seeing gremlins. Also, in regards to the story about the transport plane, I couldn't find a newspaper of the time or an article of that time that said that this actually happened. So some people say that, well, maybe this is urban legend, this didn't really happen. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that gremlins are real? Do you think that they're just simple hallucinations from unpressurized systems or not properly pressurized systems from planes back in the day? Comment down below and let me know what you guys think. I think that the stories about gremlins are actually fascinating, and the fact that so many people saw them and they claim to have seen them makes it all the more mysterious. And as always guys, if you guys like videos like this or if you guys like my content, don't forget to hit that thumbs up to let me know that you guys like videos like this. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. We post videos up every Monday and every Thursday. And I guess I'll see you guys on the next chase.